Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our Sunday Advanced Bible Study, the 28th of June, 2026. Okay, we'll be reading our 5 chapters today. We in our Numbers. We'll be reading chapters 16 through 20. We're going to read each chapter like we normally do and break it down. Okay, you can go to our YouTube channel, Prophets of Awakening. Check out our videos. We have over 1,000 or so videos that you can look at, examine, get the meat out. These videos will lead you to the truth of the Holy Scriptures. And if you like what you're hearing or receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It'll be greatly appreciated. And we have our Cash App at the bottom of the screen for those that want to support this channel, help it move along. Okay. And just for need to know information, we have uh, we have our women's line, our sister channel, which is uh, Israel Wake Up, and we come on every Thursday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's our women's line, our women's advanced Bible study. So if you want to engage in that as a female, then we here every Friday. I mean every Thursday from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. Okay, and you can call 337-802-0889, and we'll send you the link if that's what you prefer. Okay, you can come in through the link, come in through the line. Okay, so this is a non-Messianic channel for those that don't know. We deal with the Tanakh and the Torah. Tanakh being the Old Testament, so-called Book of Remembrance. It's from Genesis to Malachi. We don't subscribe to the New Testament. Okay, and then the Torah is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Savior and our Redeemer and our Deliverer, the Lord of Hosts. Okay, this channel was created to aid and assist all Hebrews who are waking up to their true identity and understanding who their Savior and their Redeemer truly is. Shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our Sunday Advanced Bible Study. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, uh, prayer, songs. We have some current events. We have some need to know information. And then we're going to deal with our topic for discussion, which is the Roman Empire removed the true Jesus to control us. So we're gonna play that, and then I'm gonna break it down because yeah, it makes a lot of sense with the information that we've discovered over here, Prophets of Awakening. Okay, then we have our scripture reading, which is we'll be reading out of the book of Numbers. We'll be reading chapter 16 to 20. And we'll read each chapter like I said, and we'll break it down uh, from 16 to 20, chapter 20. Then we're gonna pick a scripture and we'll read that scripture and we'll break it down and talk about it, and then we'll close out. Okay. This moment of silence is for the Lord of hosts and all that He's doing to bring about our prophesied deliverance in these last days. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before Thee at this hour, uh, praising You and honoring You because of Your position, both in heaven and upon the earth, a position in which Creator Yahweh have given unto Thee, and through Your Spirit and Your counsel, oh Lord, we have awakened. We have awakened and know who we are as a people and who You are as our Savior and our Redeemer. And we are thankful for all that You have done, and we are eagerly searching Your scriptures out that we may be in the right place at the right time upon Your arrival to this planet. And we see You in the affairs of the world, and we faithfully await Your deliverance. Peace be unto You. Okay? So with that being said, I'll read a song right quick. Let me see. Okay. Read Psalm 91. God is a refuge and a fortress. It's a Psalm of David. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, nor for the destruction that or wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 1,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh unto thee. Only with thee, with thine eyes, shalt thou behold and see uh, the reward of the wicked. Okay, because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in thy hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet. Because of he have set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he have known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him, and I will show him my salvation. So, a couple things in here I want to shine light on. Uh, well, over and over again on this channel, I've been showing everybody and breaking down the scriptures on understanding who the Lord of Hosts is, and understanding that it's Michael, the archangel, right? And so once you come to the realization to understand that, uh, one of the examples I'm showing is right here. They've hoodwinked us and have us thinking a certain way, and we're not thinking like our forefathers, like I said, like Hebrews. But it simply tells you right here. It says in let me get it. Let me see where it said. Yeah, verse 4. He shall cover thee with his feathers. Right? He's not just saying that just for the hell of it. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings. So God Israel got wings. Shall thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy butler. Okay, that's one of them. Now another one is we keep on we thinking that when the deliverance come and looking at everything that's happening, thinking that well, I mean, you hear me saying it, but I'm starting to see more and more that no matter where we at, ain't nothing gonna happen to us. He says right here that we still here. When the destruction comes, but we still here, we ain't got to worry about it because we saw what happened in Egypt. They was in Egypt and they was in Goshen, and then the righteous, nothing happened to them. So he says right here, uh, 5, thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor the arrow that flieth by day, nor for the pestilence. Check it out. This is another one I was talking about. Nor for the pestilence that walketh. See that? In darkness. Let that frame mate. It's pestilence, but it's walking. Okay? So thou shalt not be afraid of the pestilence, right? Uh, that walketh by in the darkness, nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000, check it out. 1,000 shall fall at thy side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh unto you. There's the answer right there. No matter where you at, when destruction start, it ain't coming nigh to you. You ain't got to worry about it. Okay. Then it says in 8, only thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Ain't that something? Okay, got any feedback on that?
And shalom, brother Leonard. In verse 11, sir, where it says, "For he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep
Right.
thee in all thy ways." Could you break that down?
Well, when you understand who these angels is, you got is the Lord of hosts, the seven angels. The Lord of hosts is the leader over all over seven. And I'm gonna give you an example of what he's talking about in Ezekiel. Go to Ezekiel chapter 9, and it says vision of slaughter. Right? I was just talking about that. It's a slaughter coming. Now we're not gonna participate in it. So it says, he cried also in mine ear with a loud voice. This Lord of hosts talking to Ezekiel. He cried in mine ear with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. We're going to see who this is, these men. And behold, 6 men, these angels, 6 angels, came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man with a slaughter weapon in his hand, right? And one man among them was clothed with linen with a writer's ink on by his side. And they went in, stood beside the brazen altar. So these 6 angels got the favorite weapon with them. They're getting ready to destroy Jerusalem. And then it said, now the other one, 7 of them. So here go the other one. And the glory of God of Israel, that's the Lord of hosts, was gone up from the cherubim, whereupon he was to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's ink on by his side. And the Lord said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, set a mark upon the forehead of them that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that are done in the midst of thereof. So I just read in 91. He said, don't worry about with the destruction that's going on around you. It's because of these angels right here. Then 5. So he said, put a mark on the righteous one, put a mark on them, right? 5. And to the others, he said in mine hearing, go ye after him through the city and smite, and let not the eyes spare, or neither have ye pity. Slay utterly all the young, both maids, little children, women, but come not nigh. See, here you go. Here go these 2 verses, precepts coming together. He says, but come not nigh any man upon whom the mark, any righteous man, any being at my, and begin at my sanctuary. Then they begin at the ancient of men, which was before the house. So it's he's talking about these 7 angels, in particular these 6. With the Lord of hosts it's actually 7 of them, but the Lord of hosts is controlling the other 6. Okay, make any sense? Okay,
Shalom, yes, sir.
and
That
so
that made
go
perfect
ahead.
sense.
Okay,
And
so you got something else?
brother Leonard, I just want to ask you, that they said in verse 6,
Yeah, you breaking up.
in Ezekiel,
Yeah, you breaking up. Might have to go out and come back in.
that you were just reading it, but come not near any man whom is the mark
Yeah, you breaking up. Yeah, it's not
It's not
you
like
breaking up.
the same kind of market that Kane
Can
has.
you hear me? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and go to our current events, and then we're gonna go to our current events, and then we'll play each one like we normally do, and we'll break it down as we go. Okay.
Now learning that the head of one of the largest utility companies here in the United States is warning that the nation could face blackouts as soon as 2027 due to AI strain. That's exactly what he said. Now, we're going to get to which company this is, who said this, and what this means to the rest of the United States. Keep in mind, this is the largest utility company by customer. Okay, they have over 11 million customers. This is big. I want to explain what's going on because I've been warning about this for some time. But what does this mean to you? That's the big question. And here's what I can tell you. What he says, and I'm going to read you his quotes in just a moment, but what he says should be concerning because he wants to raise rates immediately. And he wants to raise rates so that they can actually invest into the infrastructure so that we can power AI and we can power these data centers. Yeah, his words. Now, let's get right down to it. So, this is Calvin Butler. He's the chief executive of Exelon's largest U.S. company by customer count here inside the United States. But he says that Americans could absolutely lose power next year due to a shortage of power plants in the Northeast and Midwest. But guess what? We got some good news that we don't need a shortage of power plants. We can invest and we can put some more money behind it and we can build more. That's good news, right? Well, here's the issue. You got to pay for it. You have to pay to get those power plants put in. Listen to what he said. He said, and I quote, "We came very close this past winter to having to curtail power for about 400,000 customers on some of the coldest days of the year, and it's only getting worse." Yeah, this is happening. And what's going on right now is there is a fight within Congress. And I've talked about this a few times before, where people are now arguing over the fact that these utility companies want to raise rates. And the issue, because they're pretty much monopoly, where you do not have options between going with one company or the other. It is no, you have to decide between using this company or you move, or you just use solar panels. You sit in the dark all day. Yeah, those are your options. And so what people are saying right now, and they're discussing this over in Washington, is that these companies are trying to invest into the infrastructure, just like the American people have been asking for, or what they say. But yet Congress said, no, you can't keep raising rates. And then the utility companies coming back saying, well, if we don't raise rates, we can't continue to invest into the infrastructure, which means at some point we are going to have a shortage. Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. I want to read you something though. Here's what we know. Utility companies have raised prices by about 7% nationwide just since last year for utilities. But here's the crazy part. They say even larger markets that Exelon serves are seeing sharper increases, such as 17% in New Jersey, 16% in Maryland, and even 13% in Pennsylvania. But here's what's crazy. They expect we are going to see power usage go up. Demand is increasing, which means prices are likely going to increase as well. Here's what I can tell you. Rising costs, according to them, it says rising costs are being driven by growing electricity demand, as well as volatile natural gas prices. The cost of upgrading aging and weather damaged grids is also a major factor and the most likely possibility. This one's scary. If Congress doesn't allow them to raise rates, what they could do is they could keep rates as they are. They could not invest into the future. They could not invest into a better, more efficient power grid. They can, we could experience rolling blackouts. Like this executive says, it can come as early as 2027, where it would be consistent blackouts. Not you get a blackout today and in 6 months there's another one. No, they're talking about where there's just so much usage, maybe due to high heat, due to extremely cold temperatures, due to just the constant strain of these data centers are putting on the power grid. So they're saying that's a factor. Okay, so those are two options. Invest into your power grid, into your customers, and possibly you'll raise rates a little bit, but people are complaining about that. I want to read something to you. According to this executive says, and I quote, "I cannot run a world-class system without investing in the system. I'm increasing my rate case because of the economic growth that you want." Goes on and says, "I can't do that and not come in for a rate case. That is not good math, it is not good business, and it doesn't work."
Okay, you got anything on that?
Shalom, brother Leonard. When he say next year, we could lose power. That's what the companies are saying. To me, that means they're planning to continue to do these blackouts because there's been blackouts all 2026 and back in 2025.
Right.
That if you were watching, they'll pop up every now and again. Sometimes be like, oh, it's a blackout here, and people don't know why. You know, but those data centers definitely gonna raise people bills though for sure, and that's gonna contribute um to us gonna have to leave, brother Leonard, right? Because
Oh yeah.
it ain't gonna be no food, and your power bill gonna be $2,000. I mean, what we gonna do?
Right. And to save themselves, they want to get rid of a bunch of people to save themselves to have more whatever's left for them. So they'll be glad to for us to go and to help us go. Okay.
Hmm. Right.
Check this out.
Destructive earthquake strike Venezuela, one a magnitude 7.2, the other a magnitude 7.5. Interestingly, less than 30 minutes later, a magnitude 7.2 also struck Japan off the coast. Thankfully, minor damage reported from that, no lives lost. But a lot of people are now asking, what's happening? Is this normal? Can we expect more earthquakes to occur in the future and maybe close to where I live? And what can I do to prepare, if anything? So to answer these questions, let's first learn a little bit more about this earthquake that struck Venezuela, and then talk about the overall state of the Earth energetically in terms of earthquakes, volcanic activity, and more. And then also we'll go through some basic survival preparedness actions that anyone can take, especially those that live in earthquake-prone areas, Japan being a very clear example of that. It's the most seismically active place on the planet. So Venezuela was a rare event, though there is a history of these sort of earthquake doublets striking Venezuela. What happened was there was a magnitude 7.2 earthquake that struck about 20 kilometers down on a major plate boundary. This is where the plates are grinding past each other in a strike-slip fashion. And in fact, the motion is that South America is going to move west and the Caribbean plate is going to move to the east. And that's exactly what happened. But in addition to that magnitude 7.2, about 40 seconds later, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck and even closer to the surface, about 10 kilometers down. So these are shallow quakes, and they're very powerful at magnitude 7 plus, meaning it's very destructive. And the close sequence of those quakes in time means that their seismic waveforms, the energy that they release, combine together constructively into even larger ground motion. So you have these giant waves propagating across the surface, and that caused buildings to collapse and many lives to be lost and many people to be injured. There's
You heard about that? Those two quakes in Venezuela.
Right, yes, sir. And
Yeah,
Berlin, you think that's what you said the other day too?
yeah,
The harps.
yeah. I'm gonna play this right here.
It's 4 hours, there were 4 powerful earthquakes across 3 different continents, and 2 of them even hit the same country 40 seconds apart. Within hours, a darker question was tearing across the internet. What if some of these weren't entirely natural? So tonight we're going to walk through the theories that people are whispering. Oil drilling in Venezuela, a mysterious antenna in Alaska, China's weather manipulation machine, even SpaceX, the rocket company that just became the world's most valuable IPO in history. And by the end, I'll give you the practical steps to protect the people you love, wherever they live. In the last few hours, I've received dozens of messages from people who are concerned about their family's safety. At first, I was going to make this video because it's so different from the topics that I usually talk about. But I came across some of the most interesting and controversial discussions online that convinced me that it was worth sharing this information with all of you. Here's what happened, what people are saying, what's plausible and what isn't, and what you can actually do about it. If you've got someone you love that's living in the danger zone, like an aging parent or even an old friend on the coast, send them this video right now. It takes only 10 seconds, and it could matter much more than you think. I'm Neil K. Shah, a Johns Hopkins and NIH-funded caregiving researcher. I've helped thousands of families navigate aging, dementia, and serious illness. I cover stories like this because when the ground shakes, the people who suffer the most are exactly the ones we spend our whole lives protecting, older adults. So let's get right into it. The facts first, because they're dramatic enough on their own. On the evening of June 24th, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake tore open the ground in northern Venezuela, about 100 miles west of Caracas. People 100 miles away felt their walls move and ran into the streets. And then 40 seconds later, before the first earthquake even stopped, a second one hit, magnitude 7.5, bigger than the first. This is highly unusual because normally the big earthquake comes first and then everything after is smaller. Here, the second punch was harder. The US Geological Survey gives it a rare name, a doublet. The toll is still climbing as I record this. Thousands of people are feared dead. It's the most powerful earthquake to strike Venezuela in over 125 years. And it landed on a national holiday, so most people were at home in older apartments, not at work, when the ceilings came crashing down. But Venezuela wasn't alone. Roughly 30 minutes later, on the other side of the planet, a magnitude 6.9 struck off the northeast coast of Japan. And earlier the same day, a 5.6 rattled northern California. 4 powerful earthquakes, one day, 3 continents. And here's the detail that lit the fuse online. In those same 24 hours, the global networks recorded over 1,000 smaller tremors worldwide. So let's go through the rumors and theories one by one and try to make sense of it all. Start with the theory that has the most teeth, because unlike the others, this one is actually built on settled science. And here's a fact that sounds like a conspiracy, but isn't. Humans can cause earthquakes with oil. For most of its history, Oklahoma was seismically quiet. Then starting in 2009, the ground suddenly came alive. And by 2014 to 2017, Oklahoma was generating more magnitude 3+ earthquakes than California. Oklahoma outpacing California, that's unusual. The cause wasn't the planet, it was us. When you pump oil out of the ground, enormous volumes of salty wastewater come up with it. In some fields, 10 gallons of water for every gallon of oil. That wastewater gets injected back deep underground by the oil industry, and if you push enough fluid into the right fault, you lubricate it until it slips. In 2016, one of those injection zones triggered a magnitude 5.8 quake near Pawnee, the largest in Oklahoma's recorded history. Scientists called it induced seismicity, and it's not a theory, but it's actually in the textbooks. So now hold on to that fact next to what's happening in Venezuela, because the timing here is very loaded. Earlier this year, the United States removed Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro. And since then, American interests have controlled much of the country's oil exports, billions of dollars flowing out by some estimates with very little public oversight. Umare, near the epicenter, sits in the oil country. And so the question spreading online is really blunt. A country we just kind of took over for its oil, sitting on drilling operations, suddenly has the biggest earthquakes in its history. Now, on top of that, layer in recent Chinese-backed investments and projects using advanced drilling techniques near fault lines. Some industry observers have noted the timing is coincidental with seismic events. It's a strange coincidence. Could stepped up oil activities like extraction, injection, fracking-like methods be contributing to or even triggering larger events in this sensitive geology? Or is there something more deliberate and even sinister about the timing amid shifting control over all these oil resources? Online, people aren't ruling it out, but they're asking, in a resource-rich nation with complex politics, could energy operations be a factor in destabilizing the ground itself? I think the conversation here is heated, raw, and full of speculation about whether human hands, intentionally or not, are influencing these earthquakes. If this kind of detailed walkthrough is useful to you, hit the subscribe button, because when the next scary headline hits, I want you to have a calm place to come instead of all the panic, the panic machine that you see out there. So that brings us to the name that trends after every disaster, HAARP, H-A-A-R-P. Let me tell you what it actually is, because the name itself is half the fear. HAARP stands for High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. That's a research station near Gakona, Alaska, built in the 1990s, originally funded by the Air Force and Navy, now run by the University of Alaska. It's a field of 180 antennas that beam radio energy straight up into the ionosphere. That's the electrified upper edge of our atmosphere, where the northern lights happen, to study it. That's the job. It studies the sky. But because it was born from the military, sits in remote wilderness, and sounds like a Bond villain's laboratory, it's become the internet's favorite scapegoat, sometimes for weather patterns, earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, even mind control. And here's the piece of history almost nobody mentions. The modern, America used a secret weapon to cause an earthquake. That claim was actually popularized in 2010 by the president of Venezuela then, Hugo Chavez, who blamed the US for causing the earthquake in Haiti. Here we are 16 years later, and that theory has boomeranged onto Venezuela itself. I think it's most likely just an advanced research facility, but there's an even more interesting theory. Because here is a government program that is real, enormous, and openly admitted. China's weather modification system. And this isn't speculation. China runs the largest weather control operation on Earth, and they've openly announced it themselves. A plan to cover around 5.5 million square kilometers. That's a very large area, larger than their country, with artificially triggered rain and snow. That technique, cloud seeding, is almost a century old. You fire silver iodide into a moisture-heavy cloud, water condenses around the particles, and it falls. China famously cleared the skies over Beijing before the 2008 Olympics this way, and more than 50 countries do versions of it, including the US. They're seeding planes all over the American West right now. So I think when people say governments are manipulating the weather, they are really at the simplest level correct. There's a kernel of truth that makes the bigger fear feel plausible. And China hasn't hidden its ambition. There's open talk of weather as a strategic resource, and neighbors like India have raised real and serious concerns that large-scale seeding near borders could steal a monsoon or redirect a river. I think that's a legitimate geopolitical worry and worth keeping an eye on. But also notice the leap. Coaxing rain out of a cloud that was already heavy with water is really a universe away from manufacturing a hurricane, and another universe entirely away from cracking a tectonic plate. When China floated its grandest scheme, a river in the sky to redirect weather all over the country, China's own defense university scientists called it an absurd and fantastical project, with neither scientific basis nor technological feasibility. Real, but it's a feeling, and feelings, don't often make scientific fact. So let me be honest with you, because I think that's the whole point here of this channel. Do I know everything that powerful governments and trillion-dollar companies are doing behind closed doors? No, I don't think anyone does, or very few do. And anyone who claims that with total certainty is probably wrong. But I think there are real things worth watching here. Who controls Venezuela's oil? How far China pushes its weather programs? Who governs a sky that's filling up with private satellites and hardware? I think we should all stay curious about all of it and keep asking the hard questions. But I also think there's a difference between honest uncertainty about secrets and abandoning what we do know about physics. This was a fault that has ruptured before, and the same web of faults destroyed Caracas in 1812, and it will probably rupture again. The most useful thing I can hand you tonight isn't a villain, but a plan, because this is the part that actually protects your family, and it's the part that I want you to share with someone you love. That might be it.
Okay. So what do you think?
Right, Shalom. Yes, sir. They kind of sound manipulated to me.
Right. He talked about hard, but he kind of downplayed it.
Right.
Okay, so yeah.
Mhm.
So it's a whole lot going on with Hart more than just what he's saying. Okay. And then it's crazy how, like he said, where's all these earthquakes coming from all of a sudden? It's something definitely going on with this, and it's human involvement. That's my take on it. Okay. So let's check this out. It's some need to know information. Thought this is pretty interesting right here. Okay.
Walked away feeling incredibly powerful, incredibly intelligent. I don't think that they need the U.S. I think that they need the U.S. right now, but I think they're pretty crafty in that they're getting a lot of people. I think they've got a lot of people around the world in their pocket, and I think that they know. I mean, that is one thing that should be really obvious. I wish we're really.
Well, this discussion is about Pax Judaica and Israel controlling the West.
Obvious to a lot of Americans is the minute Trump announced the first draft of the MOU saying, okay, this we've got a deal, we signed it digitally, we're going to go to Switzerland, we're going to sign it there. When he announced this, and you saw all these Zionists just completely turn on him. He was their hero the day before, and then the next day he was trash, he was filth, he was the worst, he was a traitor to the Israeli people, to Zionists, to Jews, right? I mean, that's what the narratives were online. And it was and my thought was, well, yeah, of course they turned on him, because one thing that the Israelis have proven is they're for themselves, as they should be. I mean, really, I can't blame them. I'm not going to blame them for looking out for their country, for being Israel first. I wish the United States were truly America first. We're obviously not, but Israel very much is. And the minute somebody becomes their enemy, they're basically on they're on their hit list, and that's it. And the U.S. will very quickly become, target number one on Israel's hit list if the United States turns against Israel. And I'm sure Israel's got backup plans of, okay, who do they turn to next? Where do they go next? I think they're very, very ruthless. One thing that I noticed when I was there, when I visited in 2019, I went to Palestine, went to the West Bank, and also went into Israel. And I walked away from that. I was there for about 10 days, and I left thinking, yeah, my impression is this country, Israel, they're the next empire. I literally walked away feeling like that. They're ruthless. They're ruthless, and they're extremely intelligent, and they've got an agenda that is, and when a group has a goal like that, and they're fervently going after it, it's very difficult to stop that momentum. And so I walked away thinking it's inevitable. I definitely sided and definitely felt sympathy for the Palestinian people, but also felt like it's inevitable that the Israelis are going to win this, and that they're actually going to be an empire. Not just are they going to take over Palestine, they're building an empire over there. Fast forward to today, and are you familiar with Professor Zhang out of China? He has then been saying and predicting Pax Judaica. And he articulated basically verbally what I felt when I was over there in 2019, which is there is a rise of an empire upon us. They have figured out how to control the world. I mean, people say that's like some sort of anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, but it's not. I mean, if it's true. So, they figured out how to control a lot of industry, now AI, trying to embed themselves with the U.S. military. There's other things they're doing in other countries. And so I just think that Pax Judaica, unfortunately, is inevitable. I mean, I don't know how to stop that. That's how it feels to me. It feels like it's inevitable. I'm curious what you think of Professor Zhang's theory or prediction of Pax Judaica.
I haven't watched. I've watched him 2 or 3 times, and he seems to be a very intelligent person. I haven't actually watched him say this. I know he was on your show, but I've been so busy with Iran and the axis of resistance and the war and so on that I haven't been focusing too much on Russia or other issues and his material as well. Hopefully, I'll try to watch more of what he says. First of all, I would disagree with you on there being very intelligent. I mean, when I look at the propaganda and the hasbara that we've been seeing over the past 3 years, I mean, God forbid if I was a Zionist and I was in charge, I would send all of those people who are doing hasbara for the Israeli regime to Gaza, not with their soldiers, but with the Palestinians. So I mean, they're obviously very foolish, and their propaganda. I mean, it's probably very almost impossible to justify a Holocaust and genocide and the systematic slaughter of women and children, dark days and months and perhaps years ahead, and that the empire is not going to relent. But I do believe that the axis of resistance is the hope for this region. And I think that people are waking up to what the axis of resistance is doing. I mean, the United States and the Israelis and the Zionists and the Western media and their think tanks, they've been very successful in demonizing Iran and Hezbollah for 47 years. Iran militarily. The economy in the United States and the West is going downhill. They're not the only ones who have AI. There's this country called China, which seems to be doing pretty good. I mean, they don't waste money. They don't waste money waging war here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there is obviously an attempt to create an empire for the Zionist regime, which would of course be the most brutal and barbaric probably in human history, because they actually carry out genocide in front of cameras and they don't care. In the past, people would carry out genocide and probably not pretend that they're civilized, or they would hide the fact that they're carrying out, I mean, the Nazis, for example, I would assume many Germans, like living somewhere else in Germany, would not know what's going on in concentration camps. But today, it's like, they just today I saw this clip of a teenager going to. I would encourage your audience to read the books that I mentioned about Iran. I think that the Israeli regime is in serious trouble, but there's going to be a very, very difficult few years ahead for the world and for the region.
Yeah. I think they're rigging elections. I'm not going to lie. I think they're rigging elections. I think they've gotten into the software. They've gotten which is, we know that the Israelis
that's what the Colombian president, the outgoing Colombian president, said today. He said there's evidence that the Israelis have systematically cooked the books, or they've been manipulating the elections through the software, and that they've basically increased the votes of the right-wing candidate that's pro-Israeli in Colombia.
Right. Well, and it seems like they've been doing this a lot of other places. And this is not outside of the realm of, when people say, oh, that's a big conspiracy theory, you're just an anti-Semite. It's like, well, what was Pegasus? I mean, they have plenty of history of software that gets into the back end of systems and does stuff, whether it be spying or maybe in this case, manipulating. But what we've seen now is a pattern that doesn't make any sense. And that is the anti-Israel sentiment around the world, and even in the United States, even amongst Republicans in the United States, is at an all-time low. People do not like Israel. And yet, interestingly, all of these pro-Israel candidates continue to win. How is that even possible when Israel's approval rating is at an all-time low? People are not only just not favoring Israel, they're actually hating Israel. And yet they still win election after election after election. And as to your point, Colombia is just the latest example of that. I mean, here was Colombia, and they were one of the fiercest critics against Israel. And suddenly, I mean, these guys, Colombia was, they recalled its ambassador from Israel. They suspended arms sales. They halted coal exports. They severed diplomatic ties. They co-founded the Hague Group. They did all of these things against Israel. The people of Colombia are not supportive of Israel. And suddenly a pro-Israel candidate wins the presidency, and he vows to restore ties with Israel and move the embassy to Jerusalem. And this isn't the only example of it. I mean, we've seen this throughout Latin America, which is very interesting. I'm curious why the Israelis seem to be targeting Latin America, why Latin American leaders all seem to be extremely pro-Israel. I mean, Javier Milei in Argentina is like, I mean, the guy sobs every time, he sees like an Israeli flag or whatever. I mean, the guy is, he's like over the top with it. But also here in the United States, I mean, Thomas Massey's election. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe when he sobs because he remembers like the videos that they have of him or something. Like
yeah, exactly right. Like there was some sort
and
of
one thing that I think is very important, and that is that those anti-Israeli activists, anti-Zionist activists, wherever they are, they should be very careful. If young women approach them and take a extraordinary interest in like a 50, 60-year-old man of the very dangerous situation that Zionism is in, because now people are talking. And even now, if you compare today to like 3 months ago, just compare Tucker Carlson today from what he was saying 3-4 months ago. 3-4 months ago, he had turned against Israel, but look at the language he uses today and compare it to 3-4 months ago. Yeah. And I think that's it's across the board. People are now becoming more vocal, more assertive, and so when you oppose something, it's one thing. When you really oppose something, it's something else. And I think that the Israeli, as long as they continue, the foolish thing that the Israeli regime is doing is continuing the genocide. And so, as he said a couple of days ago, and what the former prime minister of the Israeli regime said a few days ago, said that unless there's maybe another 9/11. And
I don't even think they're going to need that. They're not going to need any of it. I mean, it's very clear. Just looking at the list in Latin America, okay, Colombia today, right? They were able to oust the anti-Israel guy and get in their pro-Israel guy. Costa Rica, Honduras, Chile, Ecuador, Bolivia, El Salvador, Argentina, Paraguay. All of these countries since 2023 have interestingly elected pro-Israel presidents. And that leaders, that doesn't make any sense to me. And the only thing that makes sense is the Israelis are testing and manipulating elections to where it won't matter that all of these young kids are right now anti-Zionist. It won't matter that all of the young Jews are becoming anti-Zionist. None of that will matter. The dying off of the boomers won't matter, because even if the voters overwhelmingly want to be anti-Israel, Israel's controlling the elections, using South America as a testing ground, and then saying, you know what, we literally now control the world and none of your elected leaders are elected. This is kind of a form of a monarchy in a way, except, the Israelis, the Zionists are in charge. And we're pretending to give you democracy to make you feel better, but you really don't have any. We put in our leaders that we want, and it really doesn't matter what your sentiment is. And I think that's what my fear is looking forward at all of this is, it just won't matter. And then they'll use AI to control us. They'll debank us, they'll censor us, they'll surveil us, they'll do all of these things that keep us in line to make sure that we don't speak up, we don't rise up, that we're controlled, and that we don't say, hey, wait a minute, that's not who I voted for. Like in the case of Kentucky, I really think that there's no way Thomas Massey, in my mind, logically lost that election. People want to say, well, yes, he did. No, logically, it doesn't make any sense. And I think that there's some funny business going on there. And then the people say, well, that's a conspiracy theory. Really? Because people on both sides of the aisle think that elections are being rigged. They think, oh, Russia stole the election. That's how Trump got in, because Russians meddled the first time around in 2016. Then you got Trump saying, well, no, it was somebody else meddled. The Democrats meddled in 2020. That's why Biden won. All right, so everybody thinks elections are being meddled with. This isn't really breaking news here. But the Israelis, I think, are actually really, truly testing and controlling, and they're doing it in South America. They probably have other agendas down there as well. weapons and whatnot. But they're using South America as a testing ground. They're getting in their leaders, and they're going to ensure pro-Israel leaders take over the West entirely. And that, to me, is, I think we've lost our democracy. I think it's really clear, the writing's on the wall, and I don't know what we do about that. But that's why I guess I'm a little hopeless.
Okay, what you think? Does it make any sense?
Yes, sir. That sound like that coup, right?
Oh yeah, and back to what I've been saying about midterm.
Right.
Okay, they got some plan for they got to have some plan for the midterms, because like I was just saying, and she was just saying, that nobody wants to deal with them, but they steady winning. And it ain't adding up. Even when Trump won in 2020, 2024, they got something going on, and it's got to do with AI. Okay. Got anything else on that?
And Shalom, brother Leonard, I was gonna ask you, sir, did you see about in I can't remember if it's Uganda. It was somewhere around there though, where they were saying that Starlink can't be used during their elections
Oh
because
yeah, exactly. Right,
because they think they was using Starlink.
right,
Uh,
right. That's what I
us
think. I think that's what was used during the 2024 election. The Starlink.
right, yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Oh yeah. Check this out.
Jesus. We only know Jesus from the Bible. But in 1945, in a place called Nag Hammadi, okay, this is in Egypt, we discovered lots of books with sayings of Jesus that we didn't know existed before. So what's important to understand is that after Jesus died, there were many different sects of Christianity that believed different things, and they argued with each other, and ultimately it was the Catholic Church who won. Why? Because the Catholic Church is run by the Roman Empire, okay? So one major book that was discovered in 1945 in Nag Hammadi that was lost to us is called the Gospel of Thomas. And what I believe is the Gospel of Thomas records the true teachings of Jesus. Okay, so let's first look at the true teachings of Jesus, and then I'll explain to you why I think this is actually his true teachings. All right, so can you read the highlighted part? Okay.
And he said, whoever finds an interpretation of these saying will not experience death.
Okay, all right, so okay, listen, this already makes sense, right? Because in the universe, death doesn't exist. Because after you die, your soul goes up to the astral plane, to the divine, okay? So your soul can never die. But you have to recognize that you are the divine spark, okay? You first need to recognize that. Once you recognize that, you'll be immortal. When you don't recognize that, then you fear death, okay?
Jesus said, let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over the all.
Okay, so this goes back to the Plato's allegory of the cave, right? Right. Plato's allegory of the cave is this prisoner who escapes his chain. He goes up into the real world where there's sunlight, and he sees the truth, right? And now he's able to see, whereas everyone else is still chained as prisoners in the cave. And now he rules overall because he knows the truth, whereas everyone else is still in prison in darkness. But remember that this is a painful process. When you go in the light, you're blinded by it. You feel absolute pain. You feel confusion. But over time, if you persist, you will see the truth. Okay? So this is the allegory of the cave. Okay? Am I right?
Jesus said, if those who lead you say to you, see, the kingdom is in the sky, then the birds of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, it is in the sea, then the fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you, and it is outside of you. When you come to know yourself, then you will become known, and you will realize that it is you who are the sons of living Father. But if you will not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are that poverty.
Okay, so this is a really important idea, okay?
go back to I go to the cave. When you escape the cave and you see the real world and you come back, it doesn't matter if you tell them what the real world is, okay? It doesn't matter if they believe you. They themselves have to go out and see the world for themselves, okay? They have to break the chains themselves and then venture out into the light and experience pain and torment for themselves before they recognize the truth, okay? That's what Jesus is saying. People who tell you this stuff, don't listen to them, okay? They only guide you, but you can't trust them. You can't believe in them. You have to believe in yourself. You have to look into yourself because the truth, the divine spark, is inside of you, okay? So what Jesus is saying is this: organized religion does not work, guys. So there's no way Jesus would say, follow me and you're good. Believe in me and you're good. He would never, ever say that because he knows you can't follow someone else. You have to believe in yourself. The divine spark is in you. Okay? Does that make sense? So they are lying to you. When they say the kingdom is in heaven, don't believe them. Okay? Another thing that you will notice is we're all sons of the living Father. You understand? Jesus is not like, I'm the son of God, and you're not. I'm superior to you. They're saying we're all sons of the living Father. Okay? Also, and this is really important, he actually doesn't, throughout the Gospel of Thomas, he actually doesn't refer to the Bible. He doesn't talk about Adam and Eve. He doesn't talk about Yahweh. He doesn't talk about David. He doesn't talk about Moses. Because for him, it's all fake, okay? The Bible is fake. What's true is the divine spark in you, okay? All right?
Okay. So you say, why am I playing this? To show you right here, like what he's saying, this is Caesarean. When you understand who Caesarean is, he dead on it. Check it out.
So again, all this is contradicting modern day Christianity.
Right.
Because Jesus was not a Christian.
Right.
Okay?
It's Caesarean.
Keep on going. Oh, sorry. Let's keep on going. And again, guys, what you're seeing is this: the similarities between the Gospel of Thomas and Plato's Allegory of the Cave, and the Iliad, and Zarathustra, his teaching.
So you say, who is Caesarean? Cleopatra and Julius Caesar had a kid, and both of them was already deified while they was alive. So when Caesarean was born, that's what they called him, the son of God. And then, like I said, Julius Caesar got killed in the Senate, and then the big old power vacuum came. Then Augustus Caesar came with 3 legions, went to Rome, and he had to kill this man Caesarion, this boy Caesarion. He was the rightful heir to the Roman Empire, and he had to kill Cleopatra, and he had to kill Mark Antony. But before he got there, Cleopatra sent Caesarion to the monasteries up in India. That's where this conversation that he talking about right here, that's where it's coming from. He was from 12 years old, he was raised. 18 missing years, he was raised in a monastery up in with those monks. And so, like he said, this the true teachers of JC. They took the story and put it and formulated it into our scriptures. But this is the raw Jesus right here. This is Caesarean.
As well as Nietzsche, okay? You see how all these poor prophets, they all think alike. They're expressing things differently. They're talking to a different age, to a different audience, but basically saying the same thing, okay? That's really important. All right, continue reading, please.
Jesus saw infants being suckled. He said to his disciples, "These infants being suckled are like those who enter the kingdom." They said to him, "Shall we then, as children, enter the kingdom?" Jesus said to them, "When you make the two one, and when you make the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, and the above like the below, and when you make the male and the female one and the same, so that the male not be male nor the female. And when you fed..."
So this is, like I said, when you understand India and all that, and the Buddha, this how the Buddha taught. This where they sent them. Caesarea went to. And like I said, the 18 missing years. So this has nothing to do with the scriptures. But when they at the Council of Nicaea, when they decided to use JC as the template, then they came and twisted it and put Hebrew in it, put it in the New Testament, in the Old Testament.
when you fashion eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in place of a hand, and a foot
This how the Buddha talk.
in place of a foot, and a likeness in place of a likeness, then will you enter the kingdom.
Okay, so again, this is similar to what we learned before, right? What he's saying is this: we are born into this world, and as we grow older, we believe in the falseness that we see around us.
Buddhism.
Okay, but once we develop our imagination, and once you recognize that this world that we live in is our hallucination, this is a projection of our imagination, then we can take control over this world, and then that will allow us to access the light. Okay, it is through the imagination which allows us to access the light, and it will allow us to create this world in a new place. We're able to see, fashion eyes in the place of an eye, a hand in the place of a hand. We're able to be our true. All right.
His disciples said to him, "Show us a place where you are, since it is necessary for us to seek it." He said to them, "Whoever has ears, let him hear. There is light within the man of light, and he lights up the whole world. If he does not shine, he is darkness."
Okay, so the disciple says to Jesus, "Be for the way it is." Okay? All right, and this idea is mirrored in a poem that we read before by Rumi, right? So you may remember Rumi, the Persian poet. He also says this: the world that we live in is a prison for drunks. Okay, so I'm pretty sure Rumi did not read Jesus' Gospel of Thomas, okay? But they're able to think the same thoughts because they're all being inspired by the same source. Does that make sense?
Exactly.
All right, continue, please.
Jesus said, "The Pharisees and the scribes have taken the keys of knowledge." This is
Gnosis. Gnosis means knowledge, okay?
"And hidden them. They themselves have not entered, nor have they allowed to enter those who wish to. You, however, be as wise as serpents and as innocent as doves."
Okay, so Jesus hates organized religion. Okay, the Pharisees, remember, are Jewish priests, Jewish leaders, and they create a hierarchy of religion where they say to people, "Only I know the truth. Only I have knowledge. So listen to me." And what Jesus is saying is, they themselves are ignorant because you cannot access knowledge through hierarchy. Okay, through oppressing other people. You can only access knowledge by looking into yourself. So you have to become like the serpent and pretend you don't know anything in order to access knowledge yourself, because otherwise, if you are capable of accessing knowledge, then the priest will see it as a threat and they will kill you.
So, like I said, you can see right here, this ain't no Hebrew thought. Okay? What you think about that?
Shalom, no sir, it's not Hebrew thought at all. And it's funny, brother Leonard, how that guy, Professor Jang, I think that is, he's not, he don't know no Hebrew knowledge, but just how he was breaking down, how you were saying, he was breaking down the character of JC.
Exactly.
And how it goes against what they, yes sir.
Right, and you can see the Buddhism in it. You can see Sandaka, which is that's who the Buddha is, Sandaka. If you go and read that, the story of Sandaka, and go and do your research on Buddhism, you'll see that's who that is. And that's why, like I said, the 18 missing years, so-called JC, who was Caesarean, Cleopatra sent him away at 12 years old to the monastery up in the Himalaya mountains. They had another Alexandria up there. When you understand what Alexander, what his plan was to rule the world, was to go to around the world building Alexandrias, homosexual cities. So we know the one in Alexandria, Egypt, but they had one up in the Himalaya mountains, Alexandria, with a monastery. And so when Augustus Caesar came to kill Mark, he killed Mark Antony. He also killed Cleopatra. But before he got there, she sent her son, who was Caesarean, was 12 years old. They sent him away to this monastery, and that's what 18 missing years are coming in at. For anybody that got any sense, because he ain't nobody just gonna disappear for no 18 years. So when you put the story in the proper perspective, it's this boy right here, Caesarean. He went away. She hid him up in the monastery, and so now he ain't being raised like a warrior like his daddy, and he not in that environment. Now he in an environment with monks and wise men and reading scriptures and all that. So that's why then you can see why he talking like this when he came back at 30 years old looking for his brother, which is he had a twin brother and sister, which was Mary and Thomas, Mary Magdalene. That's why he dealing with him like he dealing with. And they was in the Providence in Judea when he came back. And then that's why they trying to kill him. Because he got Judas Caesar's blood in him. And eventually they did. And then they took that dying and rising Savior that which you had 16 of them before that, and they put it on him. And they reconcocted the story and made this character JC. Right? And so you have to go in and do your research on it. All I'm doing is tipping you off. Okay. You got anything on that?
Shalom, brother. And that is that the history of the Caesar's Messiah. One
Yeah,
of the
that's
books
the
you had
book.
me get.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
Caesar Messiah. You got 16 crucified saviors. You know what I'm saying? And then what I did, how the Lord of Hosts revealed it to me was I went and did all my research on Greek history. That's what really done it. And then I went and did my research on the Buddhism. And then you come to see the way the whole thing was staged. Everything that JC doing, that's what the Buddha did. He appearing on the side of these mountains, getting these big crowds, all that. That's what the Buddha did. He did the same thing. Okay, that's what it's coming from. And like I said, what people don't understand, when the Greeks came, they had like a 500 some thousand people. I talked about this Greek contingency with them. Everywhere they went, they absorbed the people culture, synchronized it with theirs, and they would leave a group of Greeks that ruled. So they did it all over the place. They did it in Alexandria, Egypt. They went all over the place with what we call Hellenization. And that's how you get there. So by the time you get to Jerusalem, ended up getting our scriptures. They had access to our scriptures, and then they Hellenized our scriptures. That's how you get JC. And like I said, before they came to Jerusalem, they was in Buddha. They dealt with Buddhism, because they just like they did with every God got to have a book to it. So we had our records and our story of our God. Then they came with the New Testament, synchronized it, and the New Testament is JC. He ain't the same God as the Old Testament. Then you got Buddhism, he got a God. And then the same thing they did with our records and split it up and made another God, they did it with Buddhism. You got right today, before they got there, before synchronization came, they had one Buddha with the little black hair, with the little black beads in his head. Now we got two Buddhas. We got a white one, they call it Mahana Buddhism, and you got the regular Buddhism that was there from ancient times. They came in and they synchronized and whitewashed Buddhism the same way. And they came to Christianity, when they came to the Christian religion with the New Testament, and they did our records the same way with the old versus the new. They came with their own God. But they synchronized it off of the one we got in the Old Testament. And like I said, we know that Caesarion existed, but he ain't in them scriptures. He would be in the scriptures. He can't be in the scriptures because everybody gonna see that that's who it is. So they can't put him in the scriptures. And then they really try to downplay him in history. But when you understand who this dude is, you understand who Jesus is, where he came from. When they killed him, being he's the son of God, son of Julius Caesar and Cleopatra, when they killed him, that's what brought the Christian religion on play. That's what brought it into existence. Then they finagled it with our records, tied it to our records. right? So like I said, when Augustus came, Augustus killed him. That's what he did. And then from that brought this religion was born. Okay. Now all of a sudden he died and risen because you had 16 crucified saviors before that. You had Dionysus, Horus, all of them had the same thing happen to them. Okay. So yeah, with that, I mean, I got videos on it. Matter of fact, I got a 12-part series on that non-Messianic conversation. If you want to check it out. Okay, you got anything else on that?
Shalom, no sir.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go to we'll start reading our 5 chapters out of Numbers. We're gonna start at chapter 16. And we're gonna read 5 chapters.
Sir, number 16. Number 16, Korah, Dathan, and Abiram's rebellion. And now,
Right.
yes, sir. And now Korah, the son of Ishar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, the sons of Reuben, took men, and they rose up before Moses with certain men of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. Okay. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and Aaron and said unto them, excuse me, uh, and said unto them, oh, I lost my place. Against ye, take ye too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are holy, every one of them, and the Lord is among them. Wherefore, then lift ye up yourselves above the congregation of the Lord. When Moses heard it, he fell upon his face, and he spoke unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow the Lord will show who are his and who is holy, and will cause him to come near unto him. Even him whom he hath chosen will he cause to come up near unto him. This do, take you censers, Korah and all his company, put fire therein, and put incense in them before the Lord tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom the Lord doeth choose, that the man whom the Lord doeth choose, he shall be holy. Ye take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. And Moses said unto Korah, hear, I pray you, ye sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you that the God of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of the Lord, to stand before the congregation, to minister unto them. And he hath brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren and the sons of Levi with thee, and seek ye the priesthood also, for which causeth both thou and all thy company are gathered together against the Lord. And what is Aaron that ye murmur against him? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram and the sons of Eliab, which said, we will not come up. It is a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of the land that floweth with milk and honey, to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thou make thyself altogether a prince over us. Moreover, thou hast not brought us into a land that floweth with milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. And Moses was very wroth, and said unto the Lord, respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. And Moses said unto Korah, be thou in all thy company before the Lord, thou and they and Aaron tomorrow, and take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring ye before the Lord every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also and Aaron, each of you his censer. And they took every man his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them onto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And the glory of the Lord and the glory of the Lord appeared unto all the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses and said unto Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces and said, O God, the God of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin? And wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went on to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest ye be consumed in all their sins. So they got up from the tabernacle of Korah, and Dathan, and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of the tents, and their wives and their sons and little children. And Moses said, Hereby ye shall know that the Lord hath sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then the Lord hath not sent me. But if the Lord make a new thing in the earth, open her mouth and swallow them up with all the with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then you shall understand that these men have provoked the Lord. And it came to pass, as he had made an end of speaking all these words, and the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appertained unto Korah, and all their things. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And around all Israel that were around about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, Lest the earth swallow us up also. And they came out of fire from the Lord, and there came out a fire from the Lord and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto Eleazar, the son of Aaron the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning, and scatter thou the fire yonder, for they are hollow. The censers of these sinners against their own souls, let them make them broad plates for a covering of the altar, and they offered them before the Lord. Therefore they are hallowed, and they shall be a sign unto the children of Israel. And Eleazar the priest took the brazen censers wherewith they that were burnt had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar, to be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger which is not of the seed of Aaron come near to offer incense before the Lord, that he be not as Korah and as his company, as the Lord said to him by the hand of Moses. But on tomorrow, all the congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron, saying, Ye have killed the people of the Lord. And it came to pass, when the congregation was gathered against Moses and Aaron, that they looked toward the tabernacle of the congregation, and behold, the cloud covered it, and the glory of the Lord appeared. And Moses and Aaron came before the tabernacle of the congregation. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Get you up from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment. And they fell upon their faces. And Moses said unto Aaron, Take a censer, and put fire thereon from off the altar, and put on incense, and go quickly unto the congregation, and make an atonement for them. For there is wrath going out from the Lord, the plague is begun. And Aaron took as Moses commanded and ran into the midst of the congregation. And behold, the plague was begun among the people. And he put on incense and made an atonement for the people. And he stood between the dead and the living, and the plague was stayed. Now, now they that died in the plague were 14,700, beside them that died about the matter of Korah. And Aaron said unto Moses, unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the plague was stayed. And Shalom, that was Numbers chapter 16.
Okay. What you get out of that?
Brother Leonard, can when so would this be an example of them of the Levites bearing the iniquity with Aaron
Right.
to do the atonement?
Right. It even go even further what
Okay.
the man uh, Judah was talking about. It's two different groups. You got a righteous remnant, like it's like the two baskets of feed. You got a righteous remnant, and then you got a wicked remnant.
Right.
And when the Lord of hosts told the righteous remnant to come up hither where he at, then he destroyed the wicked one. That's how he worked.
Right.
And notice what he said. I don't know. I don't remember exactly where it was at. See if I can find it. He told them to okay, yeah, 40, verse 40, to be a memorial unto the children of Israel. So he said to be a memorial unto the children of Israel, that no stranger, see that, no stranger, which is not of the seed of Aaron, see that,
Mm.
not the seed of Israel, seed
Right.
of Aaron.
Right.
That was the servant right there. See that?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then another shout out, one more thing. We always talk about how you got more than one of a certain person, like we was talking about Joaquin. We'll look at it right here. We'll get it. 16. Yeah, Eber. See that in verse 1. See that?
Yes, sir.
Eber. So who is that? When you see that word, that name, the first time you
Uh,
saw it.
is hard or whatever. You talk about
No,
that.
no, no. The Eliab.
Oh, sons of Eliab.
Yeah,
I thought that was David, brother. I know he
it
got that.
is. Yes, it's the same.
Oh,
It's a different person, but it's the same name.
okay.
That's
Right.
what I'm saying. So those things like that to me stick out. That's how you and then it's a story in it. It's a meaning in it when you get to digging into it. But yeah, that's not the Eliab David brother. It's another one.
Right. But
Okay.
with the same name.
Same name. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what Israel did. Right. And a prime example of that is Darius. So the reason why the first Darius, the reason why you got Darius the last king of Medes and Persians is Darius because he was one before him. He was so popular. This other boy wanted to name or his daddy named him after the first Darius.
Right.
And then who say this boy right here was named after David brother? Eli. Okay,
Mm, okay.
you know what I'm saying? That's what they're doing. But yeah, so you gonna read chapter 17?
Right, sir. And it says the budding rod to be a symbol, and the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and take of every one of them a rod, according to the house of their fathers, of their princes, according to the house of their fathers, 12 rods. Write thou every man's name upon his rod, and thou shalt write Aaron's name upon the rod of Levi. For one rod shall be for the head of the house of their fathers, and thou shalt lay them up in the tabernacle of the congregation before the testimony, where I will meet with you. And it shall come to pass that the man's rod, whom I shall choose, shall blossom, and I will make to cease from me the murmurings of the children of Israel, whereby they murmur against you. And Moses spake unto the children of Israel and every one of their princes, and gave him a rod apiece, for each prince one, according to their father's houses, even 12 rods. And the rod of Aaron was among their rods. And Moses laid up the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle of witness. And it came to pass on that morrow, Moses went into the tabernacle of witness, and behold, the rod of Aaron for the house of Levi was budded, and brought forth buds, and bloomed blossoms, and yielded almonds. And Moses brought out all the rods from before the Lord and all the children of Israel, and they looked and took every man his rod. And the Lord said unto Moses, bring Aaron's rod again before the testimony, to be kept for a token against the rebels, and thou shalt quite take away the murmurings from me, that they die not. And Moses did so, as the Lord commanded him, so did he. And the children of Israel spake unto Moses, saying, behold, we die, we perish, we all perish. Whosoever cometh anything near the tabernacle of the Lord shall die. Shall we be consumed with dying? And shalom. That was Numbers chapter 17.
Right. So that little story right there about the 12 rods, right?
Right?
That's another example of who suffering servant is.
Right.
Aaron's rod bud.
Sure.
So he told him, hey, man, come get your rod. Then they all saw who the Most High dealing with. Remember in 16, they had a problem with, he said, who is this man Aaron that you keep on trying to lift him up? Who is that? So he showed him right here. You see that?
Right. Yes,
He
sir.
showed it to him right here. And so this killed the murmuring.
Right.
And then another thing I want to shine light on, if you notice, in 16, when it's dealing with the order. Notice how he was when Korah came out and the Most High dealt with him, right? He dealt with the men, the sons of Korah, right?
Right.
When he opened the earth up, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the children, the women and children were with him.
Right.
But so they went down because the man over the household. See that? So they all went down. Then over here in 17, right here, he said, let me get it. Yeah, verse 6. Moses spake unto the children of Israel, and everyone to their princesses. See that? Gave him a rod apiece for each prince, one according to, look at this, according to their fathers'
Right.
houses. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Houses. So the women and children included in that. When he's saying that, when you write it about it.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying?
Yes,
That's
sir.
how you that's how you see the order. And this how it goes right here. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So brother Leonard, I'm sorry, with that right there, that made me think about that made even more sense to me, at least what you just brought down when the dude Akan
Yeah,
or
Achan, yeah.
sir.
He told him he said notice when he said the children of Israel, he talking about sons.
Right.
Because each one of them men had a household. The household fall under that. When he say fathers, princes, and the sons, the children, women, children fall under that. Because of those men, that's where each, that's like with the just say for instance, what is Yahweh glory? Michael,
What?
right?
Right, Michael, the Lord. Yes, sir.
The Elohim, especially Michael, but especially the angels and the Elohim, because that's his glory, because they came from him, right?
Right, sir.
So who was Michael glory?
Israel.
Man, David, and man, right?
David.
So where the man glory is? The children. They came. The woman came from him. when he made Eve. Then the children came from him.
Mm.
That's why it's going down like that. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he said that they're gonna rule over you, over them. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's why
Okay.
it's going. That's why it's going like that. And then, like I said, every time you see in Genesis when they listing the sons of those first 10 men before the flood, he mentioned the sons. You know what I'm saying? He mentioned the males of that situation because in the order of that, the women fall under that, and the children fall under that. The children come out of him, and the woman came out of him. You see that?
Right. Yes, sir. So even
Why he doing that?
yes, sir. And you had brought that down in Genesis, I think, the other day, like when he said, "And the man will rule over you."
Right.
And that was
That's why
letting you
he's saying
know.
it.
Okay.
That's why he's saying it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when we see all through the scriptures, that's how he happened. He's not. He's when he come like when he came to Abraham, he come to deal with Abraham because Abraham got a household. So when he deal with Abraham, he dealing with his whole household. Abraham is over that household. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
He not coming to deal with that woman. You don't see that. He coming to deal with Abraham. Just like when he was concerning when Abraham had an issue with Sarah. What Sarah was saying, he came to Abraham and to address the issue with Sarah, he came to Abraham and told him, hearken. He didn't go deal with her. He came to Abraham. Because
Right.
they fall under Abraham. All them his wives, concubines, Abraham house falls under him.
Right.
You see what?
Sir.
Okay. You want to read 18?
Yes,
That's
sir.
we always talking about chapter 18.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's a doozy, right? And
Yeah,
so in chapter 8, Aaron's charged the tabernacle, and the
right.
Lord said unto Aaron, Thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, and thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of your priesthood, and thy brethren also of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of thy father, bring thou with thee, that they may be joined unto thee and minister unto thee. But thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness, and they
Right
shall
now,
bring.
I want to shine light on this because
Yes,
it
sir.
came up a minute ago. So notice in verse 1, there you go again. See that? He says, thou and thy sons and thy father's house. See that?
Yes, sir.
It's like he dealing with them for a reason. And we see that all through the scriptures, right?
Right. Mhm.
Now, verse 2, you see what it just said, uh, join unto thee and minister unto thee, but thou and thy Aaron, talking to Aaron, but
Mhm.
thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witnesses, right?
Right.
So that's a certain place. That's a certain place in the temple, the
Right.
tabernacle of witness, right? And then we
Mhm.
see it over again. You just read it over here again, over here. I didn't say nothing about it then, but yeah. So here, let me get it.
Oh, yes, sir. In verse 7 and 8.
Yeah, and it says that Moses laid up the rods before the Lord in the tabernacle. See, that's a place in the
Right.
tabernacle of witness, and it came to pass. So now this gonna put a greater understanding on on. I'm always reading this verse, Isaiah 43. Let me get it. Isaiah 43. Here we go. So we know the Lord of hosts is Michael, right? So here you go. 43, starting at verse 10. You there?
Yes, sir. I'm with you.
Then, so it's the Lord of hosts talking. Ye are my witnesses, says the Lord, and my servant whom I have chosen, that ye may know, believe me, and understand that I am He. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. I, even I, am the Lord. Besides me, there is no Savior. So, like I said, He proclaiming to you, He the Savior. He ain't the Godhead. He ain't the Creator. He said right here, I'm the Savior. But look where they at. Verse 10. Ye are my witnesses. Where you think they at? These the priesthood.
Right.
They're at the tabernacle witness.
Yes,
Inside in
sir.
the temple. He said, you my witnesses. You in here. You up in this temple, you my witness. See that? Then when you read it right, the way you're supposed to read it, he says, ye are my witnesses, said the Lord, and my servant. They're going to servant right here, whom I have chosen, that ye may know and believe me and understand that I am He. Before me there was no God formed, neither shall there be after me. So they're in the temple. So he's talking to the Levites, the priests, specifically Aaron's seed and the Levites. Y'all my witnesses. You servants, my servants, you my witnesses. You the ones dealing with me in the temple. You see that?
Shalom. Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. And it, excuse me, in verse 3, and they shall keep charge. They shall keep thy charge in the charge of all the tabernacle. Only they shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor ye also die. Excuse me. And they shall be joined unto thee and keep the charge of the tabernacle of the congregation for all the service of the tabernacle. And a stranger shall not come nigh unto you, and you shall keep the charge of the sanctuary and the charge of the altar, that there be no wrath any more upon the children of Israel. And I, behold, I have taken your brethren, the Levites, from among you, from among the children of Israel. To you they are given as a gift for the Lord to do the service of the tabernacle of the
So who he
congregation.
talking to?
He
Who he
talking,
talking to?
talking to Aaron.
Right. Aaron, the priesthood.
Yes, sir. And
They,
there,
they separate. They separate from the Levites.
right.
See
The,
that?
the, the priest is separate, right?
Right. That's the priest is self-serving. Like I was saying, the brother was saying the other day, it's two. He said it's a we and a he. The
Mm,
he is the priesthood, and the
right.
we is that's the ones who talking in Isaiah 53, the Levites. Go ahead.
Come on. And therefore, thou and thy sons with thee shall keep your priest office for everything of the altar, and within the veil you shall serve. I have given your priest office unto you as a service of gift, and the stranger that cometh nigh shall be put to death. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, behold, I also have given thee the charge of my heave offerings, of all the hallowed things of the children of Israel. Unto thee have I given them by reason of the anointing, and to thy sons by ordinance forever. This shall be thine of the most holy things, reserved from fire, every oblation of theirs, every meat offering of theirs, every sin offering of theirs, and every trespass offering of theirs, which they shall render unto me, shall be most holy for thee and for thy sons. In the
Verse
most
7.
holy, yes, sir,
Go ahead. Go ahead. They go to self-serving right there. Go ahead.
right there, yes, sir. In the most holy place, thou shalt eat it. Every male shall eat it. It shall be holy unto thee. And this is thine, the heave offering of their gift, with all the wave offering of the children of Israel. I have given them unto thee and to thy sons and to thy daughters with thee by statute forever. Everyone that is clean in thy house shall eat of it. All the beasts of the oil and all the best all the best of the oil and all the best of the wine and of the wheat, the first fruits of them, which they shall offer unto the Lord, them I have given thee. And whatsoever is first right in the land, which they shall bring unto the Lord, shall be thine. Every one that is clean in thine house shall eat of it. Everything devoted in Israel shall be thine. Everything that openeth the matrix in all flesh, which they bring unto the Lord, whether it be of men or beasts, shall be thine. Nevertheless, the firstborn of man shall thou surely redeem, and the firstling of unclean beasts shalt thou redeem. And those that are to be redeemed from a month old shalt thou redeem according to thine estimation for the money of 5 shekels, after the shekel of the sanctuary, which is 20 gerahs. But the firstling of a cow, or the firstling of a sheep, or the firstling of a goat, thou shalt not redeem. They are holy. Thou shalt sprinkle their blood upon the altar, and shalt burn their fat for an offering made by fire for a sweet savor unto the Lord. And the flesh of them shall be thine, as the as the wave breast, and as the right shoulder are thine. All the heave offerings of the holy things which the children of Israel offer unto the Lord have I given thee, and thy sons and thy daughters with thee by a statute forever. It is a covenant of salt forever before the Lord unto thee and to thy seed with thee. And the Lord spake unto Aaron, thou shalt have no inheritance in their land, neither shalt thou have any part among them. I am thy part and thine inheritance among the children of Israel. And behold, I have given the children of Levi all the tenth in Israel for an inheritance, for their service which they serve, even the service of the tabernacle of the congregation. Neither must the children of Israel henceforth come nigh the tabernacle of the congregation, lest they bear sin and die. But the Levites shall do the service of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they shall bear their iniquity and they shall bear their iniquity, and it shall be a statute forever throughout the generations, that among the children of Israel they have no inheritance, but the tithes of the children of Israel they shall offer as a heave offering unto the Lord. I have given to the Levites to inherit. Therefore I have said unto them, among the children of Israel they shall have no inheritance. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, thus speak unto the Levites, and say unto them, when ye take of the children of Israel the tithes which I have given you, which I have given you from them for your inheritance, then you shall offer up a heave offering of it for the Lord, even a tenth part of the tithe. And this is your heave offering, shall be reckoned unto you as though it were the corn of the threshing floor and the fullness of the winepress. Thus, thus ye also shall offer a heave offering unto the Lord of all your tithes, which you receive of the children of Israel, and you shall give thereof of the Lord's heave offering to Aaron the priest. Out of all your gifts you shall offer every heave offering of the Lord of all the best thereof, even the hollow part thereof out of it. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, when you have heaved the best thereof from it, then it shall be counted unto the Levites as the increase of the threshing floor and as the increase of the winepress. And you shall eat it in every place, and you and your households, for it is your reward for your service in the tabernacle of the congregation. And you shall bear no sin by reason of it, when you have heaved from it the best of it. Neither shall you pollute the holy things of the children of Israel, lest you die. And shalom. That was Numbers chapter 18.
Right. So they go again in verse 31. What I was talking about earlier about the women and the children. See 31, and ye shall
Right.
eat in every place, ye and your household. See that?
Sure.
That's the women and
Sure.
children,
Mm-hmm.
right? See that? Yeah.
Right. And they have mentioned it too in verse 11, brother Leonard, where
Right.
they
Yeah.
would
Yeah.
use his daughters.
Right. 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 And verse 11 was what I was talking about. How that all the women in Israel, they're not eating this, but these the priests, the women. Remember in the book of Shema, I showed you what's his name was following. He was following them around. Bathsheba's daddy was a priest, a high priest,
Right.
and that and then now you know why she was so beautiful and why she was so highly intelligent because she right here, verse 11, and this is done the heave offering of their gift with all the wave offerings of the children of Israel. So it's all the stuff they bring there that they have to use for a sacrifice. I have given them unto thee and to thy sons and to thy daughters with thee by statute forever. Everyone that is clean in the house shall eat of it. See that? Everybody eating this. You know what I'm saying? It's the priest eating it, and then his daughters eating it.
Right.
The other women in the Israel ain't eating that. That's why they way different. And then they talk about these daughters that they brought on. They were certain women they was flipping out on during the transatlantic slave trade. They had a certain place they would take them, and then all the men in Israel in America knew where they was going to be brought to, like especially in New Orleans. And then the same thing was going on in Great Britain. It was a certain stock of women they knew that was unlike all the rest of them.
Hmm.
Okay, but that somebody don't know nothing about none of this, it go right over the head. But that's why you got these like the women like Bathsheba and all them. They eating this damn the Most High have a when the priest and the Levite, especially the priest come and they make a sacrifice. Part of that sacrifice is for the priest. The Lord get heals, it get burnt up in smoke, but the other part go to them and they eat it. And he just told you, him and his children, his sons and his daughters eating it. The priest's sons and daughters, not Reuben and Natalie and none of them. It's Aaron and his seeds. Ain't that something?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Suffering servant.
Yeah. Yeah. Then came the children of Israel. Number 20. 19. My bad. The purification of the unclean. And the Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel that they bring thee a red heifer without spot, with wherein is no blemish, and upon which never came a yoke. So here we go right here. Let me break this down. The Lord spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded. Say, speak unto the children of Israel that they bring thee a red heifer. Look at this, a red heifer. This is a cow without spot, right? Wherein is no blemish, and upon where is no yoke. So if it's cows like this, then it's Negroes and women like that. Come on, that look like this. That's why Bathsheba was so stunning. Come on, and Judith. Okay. Anyway, David. So verse 4. And Elijah and Joseph. Okay. And Elijah, the priest, shall take of her blood with his finger and sprinkle her blood directly before the tabernacle of the congregation 7 times. And one shall burn the heifer in his sight, her skin and her flesh and her blood with her dung shall he burn. And the priest shall take cedar wood and hyssop and scarlet, cast it into the midst of the burning of the heifer. Then the priest shall wash his clothes, and he shall bathe his flesh in water, and afterwards he shall come into the camp and the priest shall be unclean until evening. And he that burneth her shall wash his clothes in water, and bathe his flesh in water, and shall be unclean until evening. And a man that is clean shall gather up the ashes of the heifer and lay them up without the camp in a clean place, and it shall be kept for the congregation of the children of Israel for a water of separation. It is the purification for sin. And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean unto evening, and he shall be unto the children of Israel and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them for a statute forever. He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days. He shall purify himself with it on the third day, and on the seventh day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the third day, then the seventh day he shall not be clean. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead and purifieth not himself defileth the tabernacle of the Lord, and that soul shall be cut off from Israel, because the water of separation is not sprinkled upon him, and he shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him. This is the law. When a man dieth in the tent, all that come into the tent and all that is in the tent shall be unclean 7 days. And every open vessel which have no covering bound upon it is unclean. And therefore, whosoever toucheth one that is slain with a sword in the open field, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days. And for an unclean person, they shall take of the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin, and running water shall be put thereto in the vessel. And a clean person shall take hyssop and dip it in the water and sprinkle it upon the tent and upon all the vessels and upon the persons that were there, and upon him that toucheth a bone, or one slain, or one dead, or a grave. And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the third day, and on the seventh day, and on the seventh day he shall purify himself and wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at evening. But the man that shall be unclean and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation, because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of separation have not been sprinkled upon him, he is unclean. It shall be a perpetual statute unto them, that he that sprinkleth the water of separation shall wash his clothes, and he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until evening. And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean, and the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until evening. So that was Numbers chapter 19. Okay, you got anything on that?
Shalom, no sir.
Okay, so this is chapter 20, Sumerian's death. Then came the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, in the desert of Zin in the first month, and the people abode in Kadesh, and Miriam died there and was buried there. And there was no water for the congregation, and they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron. Okay, and the people chid with Moses and spake, saying, "Would God that we had died when our brethren died before the Lord, and why have ye brought up the congregation of the Lord into this wilderness, that we and our cattle should die there? And wherefore have ye made us to come up out of Egypt, to bring us in to this evil place? It is no place of seed, or figs, or vines, or pomegranates, neither is there any water to drink." And Moses and Aaron went from the presence of the assembly unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and they fell upon their faces, and the glory of God appeared unto them. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Take the rod, gather thou the assembly together, thou and Aaron thy brother, and speak ye unto the rock before their eyes, and it shall give forth its water, and thou shalt bring forth to them water out of the rock, and so shalt give the congregation and their beasts drink. And Moses took the rod from before the Lord, and he commanded him. And Moses and Aaron gathered the congregation together before the rock, and he said unto them, Hear now, ye rebels, must we fetch you water out of this rock? And Moses lifted up his hand, and with his rod he smote the rock twice, and the water came out abundantly, and the congregation drank, and their beasts also. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron, Because ye believe me not to sanctify me in the eyes of the children of Israel, therefore ye shall not bring this congregation into the land which I have given them. This is the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel strove with the Lord, and he was sanctified, and he was sanctified in them. And Moses sent messengers from Kadesh unto the king of Edom. Thus saith thy brother Israel, Thou knowest all the travail that have befallen us, how our fathers went down into Egypt, and we have dwelt in Egypt a long time, and the Egyptians vexed us and our fathers. And when we cried unto the Lord, he heard our voice, and sent an angel, and have brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost parts of the border. Let us pass, I pray thee, through the country, and we will not pass through the fields or through the vineyards, neither will we drink of the water of the wells. We will go by the king's highway. We will not turn to the right hand nor to the left until we have passed thy borders. And Edom said unto him, Thou shalt not pass by me, lest I come out against thee with the sword. And the children of Israel said unto him, We will go by the highway, and if I and my cattle drink of water, then I will pay for it, and I will only, without doing anything else, go through on my feet. And he said, Thou shalt not go through. And Edom came out against him with much people and with a strong hand. Thus Edom refused to give Israel passage through his borders. Wherefore Israel turned away from him. And the children of Israel, even the whole congregation, journeyed through Kadesh and came unto Hor. And the Lord spake unto Moses and Aaron in Mount Hor by the coast of the land of Edom, saying, Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, for he shall not enter into the land which I have given unto the children of Israel, because ye rebelled against my word at the waters of Meribah. Take Aaron and Eleazar his son, and bring them up into the Mount Hor, and strip Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aaron shall be gathered unto his people, and he shall die there. And Moses did as the Lord commanded, and they went up into the Mount Hor in the sight of all the congregation. And Moses stripped Aaron of his garments, and put them upon Eleazar his son, and Aaron died there in the top of the mount. And Moses and Eleazar came down from the mount. And when all the congregation saw that Aaron was dead, they mourned for Aaron 30 days until all the house, even all the house of Israel. So that was Numbers chapter 20. Okay, what you think?
So, shalom, brother Leonard. So that Mount Hor, that is Mount Horeb.
Uh, I'm thinking it is.
That okay? That I have been meaning to ask you about that. Okay,
Right.
that okay. That would
Notice,
make
right. Yeah. Notice how it's similar to when Moses, when Aaron, when Abraham took Isaac up in the mound, right?
Okay.
Exactly. But it's just like I was saying the other day. Abraham knew that Isaac was coming back, but right here,
Mm,
um, Aaron and his son went up there, but Aaron ain't come back.
right.
Ain't that something?
Right. Okay.
So with that being said, we're gonna pick a scripture, then we'll close out, and then yeah, we're gonna I'll open it up for any questions, questions or comments in the Q and A. Hopefully, man, we can send the links out. Okay, you got a scripture you want to read?
Yes, sir. Shalom, brother Leonard. I wanted to go back to verse 16. I wanted to pick verse 16 in Numbers 20.
Okay,
Um, yes, sir. If you could expound on it, and it says, "When we cried unto the Lord, He heard our voice and sent an angel, and He have brought us forth out of Egypt. And behold, we are in Kadesh, a city in the uttermost part of thy border." Shalom. That was Numbers 20, chapter 16.
right. That's another precept to be used, like Exodus 23:20.
Right, sir.
You know what I'm saying? So we know uh, that's Yahweh that sent the angel, right?
Yes, sir.
So we see right there, it's an angel that's leading them. It's an angel leading them.
Right,
Because the average person would assume that it's Yahweh, but it's an angel leading them. Yahweh only came down for a certain time, and he before he left, he says that he told Moses, "I'm gonna lead his angel here. Obey his voice. Look, he got my name in him. He's the one gonna deal with your transgressions." And then Yahweh went back up to the heavens of heavens. So Israel dealing with an angel. When they come to the Red Sea, they dealing with an angel. Okay. When they go into the land of Canaan, it's the angel. They dealing with an angel. He says, "I'm gonna send my fear before you." That's the Lord of hosts. Okay.
right. Yes, sir.
Right.
hmm
Okay. So with that being said, like I said, the links has been sent out. If anybody got any questions, want to come up, we can have a little dialogue and answer some questions. If anybody got any,
Shalom, brother Leonard. Um, I have a question in Second Samuel. You had brought this down before, but I need it again real quick. In Second Samuel chapter 2, this is verses 4 and then verse 10. Not all of it, just those two verses. And it says, "And the men of Judah came, and they anointed David king over the house of Judah. And they told David, saying that the men of Jabesh Gilead were they that buried Saul." And then verse 10, it says,
okay,
yes, sir, Ishbosheth, Saul's son, was 40 years old when he began to reign over Israel, and reigned 2 years, but the house of Judah followed David.
okay,
And so when the a few classes ago when you were breaking this down, brother Leonard, um,
mm-hmm.
so before David got all the tribes, he was only reigning over Judah.
Oh yeah, like in horror, you know, and when he's in horror, he ruled. I think he ruled 7 years in horror. That's during that time right there. And
Okay,
the
right.
crazy part about that, if you go to the season series we watched on House of David,
Okay,
remember Saul's mother crowned that boy.
right. Yes, sir.
Right. So it's like it could be that area right that time right there. And let
Right.
you know
They
they
skipped
they got they got some information that we don't have. Because yeah. I mean she crowned it.
Right. And it mentions in here, Brother Leonard, I forgot where I was reading that they had wars. Oh, well, it's right here in chapter 3, where it says there was long wars between the house of Saul and the house of David, but David waxed stronger and stronger, and the house of Saul waxed weaker and weaker.
Right, and that's some of that's a lot of that's been taken out, but you can see you can see that going on because when you get to the part, remember when Joel came into to the camp of David and told him that I'm gonna bring the other tribes to you because the Joel represented I'm thinking this his name, yeah, Joel represented the house of Saul, even though Jonathan and Jonathan and Saul was killed, Joab was the Lord of hosts. See what I'm
Right.
saying?
So,
So that's when I mean I'm thinking it was Abner. Was it that's Abner? Yeah.
okay. Yes,
Right.
sir.
So Abner came into the camp and he brought the rest of the Israel together to make Israel one, and then Joab killed him.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's tied to those wars. That's at the end of those wars, and that's what brought Abner to the point where the Most High dealt with him to go and to bring bring all Israel under David.
Right. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Okay. Somebody else got something?
Shalom, brother Leonard. Some sometimes a time months ago, maybe even you had showed a video or different videos about the second Exodus,
Okay.
and there were in one there, you had made a comment about something about IUIC, so I had to go back and look that up. So I heard about IUIC. Um, and then now we're now talk there's talk about disclosure with aliens and UFOs and things like that. So
Right.
I just had a question about the basically all the thoughts in scripture about how the Lord of hosts may or may not have a spaceship, and then if you could just make sense of all of that for me, that's what my question was in regards to. I did not know there were people thinking um, and again referring to IUIC and anybody else, thinking that the Lord of Hosts may have some type of spaceship or UFO type um, way that he's being transported or traveling. Shalom.
Right. Yeah. So like I said, that started from those original camps, like up in One West and all of them. They started that with the UFOs. But my thing is this right here. Like I said, you go to the book of Daniel, and then you get it. You go to the book of Daniel, and then when you understand who those seven angels are, right? And it says, okay, you get it. Let me see. Yeah, I'm in verse 20. I'm in verse Daniel chapter 9, verse 20. So this is when in verse 9, verse 1, Daniel prayed. And Daniel says, in the first year of Darius, son of Artaxerxes, the seed of the Medes and Persians, which were made king over the realm of Chaldeans, in the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of years, wherefore the word of the Lord that came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in the desolation of Jerusalem, being 30. Because of that, he understood that. He looking at the book of Jeremiah and the prophecy, and he see that the 70 years is almost up. So verse 3, and I set my face unto the Lord God to seek by prayer and supplication with fasting and sackcloth. And I prayed unto the Lord. So because he looking at the scriptures and he looking at the prophecy that came to pass, it's been completed. Now he praying to the Lord about what to do and about what he needs to do, being that he's a prophet. And so when you get to 20, it says, and while I was speaking and praying and confessing my sins and the sins of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before my God, for the holy mountain of the God of my God. Now here you go, 21. Yea, while I was speaking in prayer, even the man Gabriel, right? Gabriel angel, right?
Yes,
Hello?
sir.
So while I was speaking in
Yes,
prayer,
sir.
even the man Gabriel, even the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in a vision at the beginning, being called to fly swiftly, touched me about the time of the evening oblation. So why is he flying swiftly? He ain't no UFO. See that? He's an angelic being. And he was called to fly swiftly. Wherever he coming from, he had to fly swiftly to get there. He ain't no UFO. And so my thing is
Yes, sir.
this. So here go another one right here. And another one, Ezekiel. Okay, Ezekiel. Come on, man. Let me get it. Ezekiel chapter 1 says, Ezekiel chapter 1, in verse 22. I started 21. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up over against them, and the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels, and the likeness of the firmament upon the heads of the living creatures was as the color of a terrible crystal stretched forth over their heads above, and under the firmament of their wings. See that? They got wings. Under the firmament of their wings were their wings straight, one toward the other. Everyone that had two was covered on this side, and everyone had two that covered on that side, their bodies. And when they went, look at this, when they went, I heard the noise of their wings, like the noise of great waters, as the voice of Almighty, the voice of the speech of a noise of a host. When they stood, they let down their wings. So my thing is this. So you gotta just imagine, you know what a condor is, right?
Yes, sir.
That's a huge bird, a vulture, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Imagine him sitting in an airplane,
Right.
big ass. He got
Right.
all this power and these wings, big ass wings, but he's sitting up in an airplane.
Okay.
Let that come, man.
So Brother Leonard, the camps, and anybody else in a camp or not in a camp, do you foresee this UFO thing making them believe that, specifically, because I do know IUIC still believes in Jesus, believe that this is the sign of the times for them, as opposed to, oh, like some people think it's just foreign invaders? Do you feel like they will? I'm sorry, I never knew that there were people that read the Bible but believed that their Savior and Redeemer would be coming from outer space in the manner that they seem
When
to believe.
Yeah, that's why you see it on all their videos. That's what they believe.
Wow.
Even the one video the girl made. I think what her name is. She sang the song "Israelite Man."
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm talking about?
Excuse
I
me.
can't think. I can't think of
I,
her
I've
name.
I've seen some of their videos.
You got one called it. You got one about UFOs. You know, the whole video is about all UFOs. I can't think of her name.
I and that may have been the video I seen, and that's I'm I'm not trying to throw shade on any group or at all,
Right.
but that's why I was okay with saying IUIC, because I don't remember the song or the video I saw, but I thought, oh, this is what Brother Leonard was referring to when he said, this makes me think of IUIC.
Right.
So that may have been what I had watched a while ago. Yes, sir.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what that's all about. Oh, yeah.
And Shalom, in regard to the clips that were played today, I used to live in Oklahoma City. I do know that is a thing. All of a sudden, we were having earthquakes like nobody's business. I left Oklahoma in 2016. I was in maybe the 8th floor of a building, which sounds crazy. There's not really skyscrapers there. At a university, I was talking to a professor, and I remember thinking, oh, this building's about to fall. But all it did was sway. Um, it was very interesting, Brother Leonard. I didn't even think about what they called in Oklahoma fracturing, breaking up the ground to get more oil out.
Right.
Was even a thing that could happen in Venezuela until you played the clip of the man saying, but America's went down there trying to drill out more oil. And the citizens of Oklahoma City specifically, started demanding that they stop drilling the way they were drilling, which is exactly like you said. It's a whole new way of getting oil, because it was disturbing their homes, their buildings. They were having to repair things. However, I wanted to know what your take on everything was, because the next clip you played the first one, I can't remember, was exactly how I felt. So on the 25th of this month, after all the two earthquakes in Venezuela, I was standing in a store, and 5 times I kept feeling the floor shake. And I looked around, and because nobody else seemed startled, they were still shopping, checking out. I just thought, okay, maybe it's just me, but I need to hurry up and get out of this store. I heard the clip say people kept reporting things from far away. I never reported anything because I thought, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just me. Everybody else seems not to care. So I came home to see if there was an earthquake, and people reported it. But I noticed it was just earthquakes in the same places you mentioned. And I said, there's no way I could have felt something from Venezuela yesterday or Japan yesterday. But that's crazy that earthquakes were in multiple countries all over the world.
Right.
So I just
All
wanted
of
to
a
know what
sudden.
your take was.
Well, I think it's hard. I think those Israeli Zionists, they trying to emulate the end times. When it says what they got when they got in the Revelations, there's going to be earthquakes in diverse places and all that. They simulating all this. They trying to bring about the end times from the way they didn't concoct it. Yeah, so that lady name was Zimmer, Zemir. She got a she got a whole I'm thinking 3 or 4 CDs. One of those songs is, I can't think of the name of the song, but it's she talking about UFOs coming. Come and pick her up, come and scoop her up, or something like that. Even when they say swing low, sweet chariots, they talking about the UFOs. Okay.
Yes, sir. That, to me, that was a lot to take in. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Exactly.
I did not know if people even believe that. And when I looked it up, I was more astonished to just see the magnitude, the number of people who actually believe that. And yeah, that was shocking to me.
Right.
And,
You
and
got it.
basically they're tying the Jesus story plus the UFO story all together, and it's just
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
and that's what
Jesus,
Christianity is, just blending a
right.
whole bunch of craziness together.
Yeah,
Shalom.
Jesus in the UFO. You let them tell it. Jesus in the UFO. Yeah. Uh, you got anything, AJ?
Shalom, brother Leonard. To even to that, like you said, with JC in the UFO, when you look at like the origins of like like Superman or something like that,
Right.
that
Exactly.
stuff come from those Egyptian people, and then
Right.
you already showed me in class that the Bible got ties to the Egyptian Book of the Dead and all of that. But yeah, but
Right.
Superman came in a spaceship. They say that's JC anyway. They trying to tie all that together. But it's tied to
Right.
Egypt though. That reminded me of that when y'all just said that.
Right. And then we saw how an example was we saw how in the book of Adam and Eve, remember that those Lucifer, those angels came up out the water, right?
Right. Right.
And they levitated. And that's what Superman, all these superheroes doing.
Yes,
They
sir.
they levitated and went to the top of the mountain where Jared children was at.
Right.
Right. So yeah. Ain't that something? So everybody good?
Shalom. Yes, sir.
Okay, everybody
Yes,
good,
sir.
right?
Thank you. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
so with that being said, I'm gonna say shalom to everybody. We got our uh, Tuesday night TANAK and news briefing on Tuesday, so I'll see everybody then. Shalom, shalom, and another shalom.
Shalom.
I highly recommend that you get this book and you read it because it's a must that you understand who God head is in the order that's in the Old Testament and Tanakh, because it's not the same as in the New Testament. And when you read this and you get an understanding, then the scriptures open up and then you begin to understand. So I highly recommend that you get this book. It's the Elohim of Israel, and it's a breakdown on the word Elohim and who the God of Israel is and the Godhead.